Each summer, legions of fans, young and experienced, from around the world converge on the Hoosier State for one sole purpose. The reasons? They are plentiful. But as race fans trek from one spot on the map to another during the 7-race, 9-day stretch, they all know where to find wheel stands. Intensity. Thrills. Spills. Dirt slinging. Horsepower. Legendary faces. Legendary places. The unexpected and the courageous, as the best of USAC AMSOIL sprint car racing stand on the throttle, night in and night out, to soothe the souls of the working man. The purpose is clear. It's time to strap in for Indiana Sprint Week. Welcome to a very special edition of Wheels Up Wednesday. I'm Michael McIntyre. Indiana Sprint Week enters its 29th year, stronger than ever, with 5 former Sprint Week champions comprising the 47-driver lineup at the 2016 Series opener at Gas City I-69 Speedway. The quarter-mile bull ring, located a little over an hour north of Indianapolis, straight up Interstate 69, has been a staple of the Sprint Week schedule since 2002, and, on this night, plays host to kick off the series for the 6th consecutive year. The cream usually rises to the top at this joint, as 11 of the previous 14 Gas City Sprint Week winners are Sprint Week champions. Yet coming into this warm Friday night, not a single driver has ever earned his first career USAC win in a Sprint Week race at Gas City. Two-time Gas City USAC Sprint Car winner Hunter Schoenberg lines up alongside young Max McGee at the start of the A-Main, as we hand over the mic to Dillon Welch for the call.
Indiana Sprint Week set to begin here at the Gas City I-69 Speedway. We're green off of turn 4. Hunter Schoenberg leads on the bottom through 1 and 2. Max McGee trying to fend off Chad Baseflug, and McGee checks up at the end of the backstretch, allows Clausen and Bacon to roll around his inside and outside. Bacon snuck around Clausen, and yellow crash in turn 4.
On the opening lap, outside 8th row starter Tyler Courtney spins to a stop in turn 3. Already mired deep in the pack, Courtney would now have to restart from the tail, 24th to be precise, putting him behind the 8 ball before his Sprint Week had even begun. On the restart, a surging Chad Baseflug would throw his hat into contention.
Baseflug again aggressive on the initial start. Finds himself in second at the end of the back straightaway. Sets his sights on Schoenberg. Clausen around the bottom. Max McGee running third. Wyndham on the outside of the Baldwin number 5. Started 8th and is up to 5th as we complete lap number 1.
Suddenly, Baseflug's car dramatically slowed due to a Zeus button falling out of the ignition plate and shutting off the engine. Despite the issue, Baseflug would restart from the tail. On the 9th lap, third starting Brian Clausen slips past McGee for the 2nd position, and 1 circuit later, challenges Schoenberg for the lead.
Around Max McGee, and now goes to the high side with Schoenberg around the bottom. Clausen in the right rear, they swap lanes again. Bottom lane all to himself, Clausen with the left front in the air to the race lead as we come to 20 to go. Schoenberg back to the bottom, Bacon following in Clausen's footsteps around the top side.
Remember the name Tyler Courtney? By the midway point, Courtney had slowly, but surely, and steadfastly hit his marks on the bottom of the racetrack surface, knocking off one position at a time after another as he tracks down Schoenberg and Wyndham for the 2nd spot. From that point forward, Courtney had just one man to beat, 2-time Sprint Week champion Brian Clausen. Courtney was able to dig his heels into the bottom, cutting the interval between him and Clausen by nearly half a second each lap. But a yellow for Thomas Meserol flew after he found himself facing the outside turn 4 guardrail, leaving just 8 laps remaining and a clear track ahead for Clausen and Courtney.
Run in there, Clausen slammed the door on him. Single file through 1 and 2, Sunshine a little better though. Oh, Clausen goes to the top. Here comes Tyler Courtney around the infield tires. Drag race to the line, 7 to go, Sunshine leads at the line. Clausen back to the top side. Tyler Courtney drag racing in front of him. Clausen biked over the cushion. He brings Wyndham with him. Tyler Courtney to the race lead. 5 to go, 6 to go.
Coming to the white flag, Courtney led a 3-car freight train at the bottom, while Clausen ripped the ragged edge up top.
Clausen's best hope is third at this point. Off of turn number 2. Wyndham, Cottle, Clausen, not close enough to make a move. Here comes BC through 3 and 4, a first-time winner. Tyler Courtney wins the opening night of Indiana Sprint Week at Gas City.
Reminiscent of Terry Pletch's storied charge from 21st to 1st in 1999's Indiana Sprint Week opener at Terre Haute, Courtney's long shot first career USAC victory from dead last 24th under trying circumstances is a performance that is sure to go down in Sprint Week lore.
Yeah, I mean, it's Indiana Sprint Week. My grandfather was a huge part of starting this before USAC got a hold of it, owning Putnamville and stuff like that. And I've been close to winning a USAC race before, just can never get it done. And to finally get it done against the best competition there is during Sprint Week, and to beat a guy like Brian Clausen, I mean, you couldn't ride it any better. And the way we did it, it's just amazing. I'm truly speechless. It's very humbling.
Courtney was followed by Clausen, who led 13 laps, Wyndham, Shane Cottle, and USAC National Sprint Car point leader Brady Bacon. Jerry Coons Jr. was 6th, ahead of Max McGee and defending Indiana Sprint Week champ Robert Ballou. A.J. Hopkins came home a career best 9th from the C Main, while midget racing standout Zach Dahm came home 10th. Go west, young man, on US 35, and you'll reach Saturday night's destination, Kokomo Speedway. The O'Connor's Quarter Mile has consistently been the site of some of the most spectacular races in Indiana Sprint Week history, dating back to its roots as one of the originals on the Sprint Week card back in 1988. A favorite stop for competitors and fans alike, on this night, 47 men once again put their wills to the test in search of Indiana Sprint Week glory to honor one of the sport's fallen heroes, 1999 Sprint Week champion Tony Elliott, at a place where he won in excess of 60 races and 3 Sprint Week features. Kevin Thomas Jr. and 2011 Indiana Sprint Week champ Chris Wyndham led the 24-car starting field of the green flag for the inaugural Tony Elliott Classic.
Night 2 of Indiana Sprint Week is green at Kokomo. Chris Wyndham gets the jump from outside the front row, leads through 1 and 2, 3 wide for second. Stockon, Baseflug, and KT on the outside lane as they fan out down the backstretch and into turn number 3. Wyndham going to lead the opening circuit over Thomas and Baseflug.
Outside third-row starter Kyle Cummins quickly darts to a battle for third alongside Chase Stockon and Chad Baseflug as a wholesale of drivers make a bid to get to the front in the early stages.
Only had him passed by a couple of inches there, but now Stockon darts to the bottom and inched in front of Baseflug momentarily. But Chad with the momentum on the outside, still fending him off, but not for long. Stockon goes to third.
On a lap 14 restart, Wyndham pulls the front wheels off the ground, allowing KT to pounce as he splits between leader Wyndham and Chase Stockon to take the race lead heading into turn 3. However, Thomas' timing was ill-fated as fifth-running Brady Bacon got turned around, collecting a tumbling Hunter Schoenberg as well as CJ Leary, Logan Jarrett, and Tyler Thomas to bring out the red. Once action resumed, Cummins began his methodical dissection of the front-runners using the bottom side of the racetrack.
And drives to third around Chase Stockon. KT around the bottom through 3 and 4, closed to within a couple feet of the Bear. To the bottom through 1 and 2 again. Lost some ground. Wyndham pulls away. Here's Cummins inside of Thomas for second. Give it to him. Thomas went to the bottom at both ends for a couple laps in a row, and Cummins drove right by him, chasing that first career USAC win.
With 8 to go, Cummins catches Wyndham for the race lead.
Here's Cummins, catches the moisture to the race lead. Kyle Cummins around Chris Wyndham. Here's 8 to go. Contact. Oh my.
In the blink of an eye, the entire complexion of the race changed with second and third and fifth place cars now out of the picture, and Cummins in the lead. Yet Cummins' ride to his first USAC victory wouldn't be free and easy, as he now had to fend off 2013 Kokomo Indiana Sprint Week winner Kevin Thomas Jr. and defending Sprint Week champ Robert Ballou for the final 8 circuits.
KT committed to the top side. Ballou around the bottom. He could be a spoiler here. Works his way into 3 side-by-side with Cummins. Battle for the lead off of turn number 4. Cummins defends once again. Thomas trying to make the top side work still. Here they come through 3 and 4. Cummins a little bit of a gap. Ballou closes back in on him once again.
Coming to the white flag, Cummins had to hold off Ballou one final time as he gave it one last shot, skimming the infield tires, a car width underneath leader Cummins.
KT selling out up top. Ballou got his nose in there once again, but Thomas banged the cushion. through 3 and 4. Ballou closing off the final corner. Drag race to the finish. Kyle Cummins, first career USAC win at Kokomo.
24 hours after Tyler Courtney pulled a stunner at Gas City, Cummins becomes the second consecutive new face to emerge in Indiana Sprint Week victory lane. Marking the first time since September of 2008, there have been first-time winners in back-to-back USAC national sprint car races. Casey Kane Racing teammates Brad Sweet and Brady Bacon accomplished the feat in 2 straight races at Eldora and Winchester, respectively. Courtney and Cummins' back-to-back triumphs was also only the second time that Indiana Sprint Week has produced 2 straight first-time USAC National Sprint Car winners. In 1997, Brad Fox at Bloomington and Bill Rose at Paragon notched their initial series wins in consecutive nights.
I don't know, after that yellow, we ran a couple laps there, and Robert was there, and I'll tell you, that was the most nervous 8, 3, 4, however many laps I made ever. And I even seen him going in turn 1, so coming off turn 4, I knew as long as I didn't get in there and get tight, so I made it a little bit wider, that I could get there to the stripe, but gosh, it was still close.
Cummins beat Ballou to the line by less than 0.06 of a second, while Kevin Thomas Jr. grabbed third, ahead of hard-charging Jerry Coons Jr., who started 22nd. Brady Bacon came from the tail to grab 5th after an incident with 16 laps to go. Base Flug, Courtney, Jared Andretti, Wyndham, who led the first 21 laps, and Shane Cottle rounded out the top 10. On Sunday, the teams and fans jetted southeast down I-74 to Lawrenceburg Speedway, just across the Ohio River from Cincinnati for Night 3 of the 29th Annual Indiana Sprint Week, where they were greeted with the smell of methanol in the air produced by 42 sprinters that were towed down to the lightning-quick dirt oval. Over the years, the track has been a variety of shapes and sizes: quarter-mile, 3/8 mile, semi-banked, or high-banked. The Berg has routinely produced intense competition that puts drivers on the edge and brings the fans to their feet. Hunter Schoenberg started the race from the pole position, just as he did 2 nights ago at Gas City for the Sprint Week opener, and he shot out to the lead on the opening lap.
We're set to go at Lawrenceburg, off for 4, green, flag in the air.
And a good jump for Schoenberg as he goes into turn number 1 as the leader. Logan Jarrett was right on his bumper there, losing a little bit of distance as they head on down the backstretch there. Justin Grant up to 3rd. Here comes BC Brian Clausen underneath of Grant, looking for the 3rd spot. Lap number 1 is complete and led by Schoenberg.
Logan Jarrett tucked right up under the rear bumper as Schoenberg goes to the outside through 1 and 2.
After a lap 1 caution on the ensuing restart, Clausen wasted no time resuming his charge to the front, slipping past the April 2015 Lawrenceburg winner Logan Jarrett for 2nd on the bottom off the exit of turn 4. Next on BC's radar was leader Schoenberg, who saw his lead quickly evaporate as Clausen reeled him in no time flat by lap 5.
Schoenberg takes a higher than I would have expected line into turn number 1, opening up the inside for Brian Clausen. That'll keep the momentum up. Oh, and Justin Grant got pinched there coming out of turn number 2. They're side by side for 3rd. They're also side by side for the lead.
Clausen on the bottom, drag race to the line. He led that lap with 24 to go. Schoenberg up to the top. Clausen slides up to the cushion as well.
Meanwhile, opening night winner Tyler Courtney picked his way through the middle to the 4th spot, but it was Southwest invader Josh Hodges in 2nd, who was determined to make it 3 first-time winners in a row as he hunted down Clausen for the lead.
In turns 3 and 4, he looks to be better than Clausen.
He's chipping away at it, that's for sure, and Clausen goes to the bottom. That's a dangerous part about working a lap or working a different line, is you show the guy you're trying to pass where you're running. Clausen defended the bottom through 3 and 4, but goes up top through 1 and 2. Hodges through the middle, almost had him again. Clausen goes to the top side here. Hodges missed the bottom and slides through the middle.
So this race up front is very, very good as Many of us, including myself, thought that when Clausen got up front, he would motor away from Hodges, but Hodges has done a great job at keeping an eye on Clausen through turns 3 and 4. Hodges is still there, about 3 car lengths separating the leaders.
With 8 to go, Courtney came alive during crunch time, sticking a slide job on Schoenberg for 3rd in turn 3 and repeating the move on Hodges in turn 1 for the 2nd spot with just 5 laps remaining. Up front, nobody was able to mount a challenge for Clausen's supremacy as the Noblesville, Indiana driver took the white flag.
Here they come to the white flag. BC sees the white flag in the flagman's hand. He has 3/8 of a mile to go. Right now, Tyler Courtney is about 4 car lengths back down the backstretch.
Not going to have enough through 3 and off of turn number 4. Night 3 of Indiana Sprint Week at Lawrenceburg to Brian Clausen.
Clausen celebrated his 41st career USAC AMSOIL National Sprint Car victory, surpassing Gary Bettenhausen for 7th on the all-time list, while also collecting his 111th career USAC sanctioned victory, moving him into the top 5 on total wins alongside some of the giants of the sport. Clausen now stands behind only Rich Vogler, AJ Foyt, Sleepy Trip, and Mel Kenyon in career USAC wins.
Just, they kind of reworked the track a little bit, so kind of moved around, and we were able to kind of search and got him moving around a little bit, and we were able to take advantage of 3 and 4 there. Yeah, it's pretty similar to what you see, obviously, especially here late getting slick, but it was really racy, really wide, and a lot of fun.
Clausen was followed by Tyler Courtney, Chris Wyndham, CJ Leary, and Josh Hodges, who faded toward the end, but was still able to record a good 5th-place finish, his best career USAC national result. Justin Grant was 6th ahead of Bacon, Hardcharger Cummins from the 20th spot, Ballou, and Kevin Thomas Jr. After a complete washout at Terre Haute the night before, the second half of Indiana Sprint Week resumed at Putnamville's Lincoln Park Speedway. The 3-day break gave teams one last chance to catch their collective breaths before one final push for the Indiana Sprint Week title. A torrential downpour had turned Lincoln Park into Lincoln Lake by mid-race day, but the track crew and the sunshine would prevail, providing the welcome sight of the largest Sprint Week car count in 3 years, and the back-and-in style against the skyscraper tall cushion so familiar to those who have made the annual pilgrimage to the world's fastest 5/16-mile dirt oval each and every year. The pressures of Sprint Week can come to a head, as tonight would begin a new chapter for Thomas Meserol in the Landon Simon Racing number 24, after parting ways with the Amati Racing team, who welcomed a familiar face back into the fold, 2-time Sprint Week champ John Stanbro. At the end of the night, the 50-car field had been whittled down to the top 24 for the 30-lap affair, where up front, it was Indiana Sprint Week's winningest driver, pole sitter Dave Darlin, with Chase Stockon alongside.
They bring us up to speed at the Lincoln Park Speedway. We're underway.
Stockon will try to get to the bottom and maybe be able to hold off Darlin. Darlin's pretty straight coming out of turn number 2, the drag race, down the backstretch. It'll be Stockon. With about a half-car advantage. Darlin moves up top where he loves to run here at Lincoln Park.
And Justin Grant got out of shape on the bottom and stacked a few cars up behind him. Look at Tyler Courtney there in the 23 car, already working that outside lane up to the 5th spot, challenging Grant here. Oh, Grant squeezed him and Courtney hopped the right rear.
Points leader Tyler Courtney would have to restart from the tail of the field in the 24th position, the very same spot he began his charge from 6 days earlier during his spectacular come-from-behind victory at Gas City. On the restart, Darlin engaged in an all-out war for the lead with Stockon.
Out of turn number 4, that's back for about the 7th or 8th position. Darlin looks pretty content to stay up top there as we've got a good, but now Darlin dives into the bottom and leads at the line. So Darlin does the big crossover, and here comes Stockon battling right back. Fun, fun, fun here at Lincoln Park Speedway.
That was textbook from Dave Darlin. Got the run off of turn number 4 and then crossed Stockon over. Chase through the middle, oh, yellow, right in the middle of the racetrack in turn 1. That's Aaron Farney, who interrupted a great battle up front.
As Darlin began to distance himself away from the field, Chad Baseflug, a second-place finisher just 2 weeks prior at Putnamville, worked the bottom to challenge Stockon for the runner-up spot on lap 5.
As they race into turn number 3, slides through the middle, Stockon comes back to his inside and takes the runner-up spot back at the line. Now he goes to the top side with Baseflug again around the bottom. He'll clear him off of turn 2 and move into second.
Meanwhile, 11 starting Brady Short's steady, methodical drive through the middle in turns 1 and 2, and the bottom in turns 3 and 4, put him up near the front of the field by lap 10.
As Stockon puts the slider on Chad Baseflug.
And that was about as short a slider as you can get away with. He backed that 32 car right up in front of Baseflug's 98. Brady Short on the move inside of Tyler Thomas to 4th. He's not done yet. Working the bottom here, challenging Baseflug for the bottom step on the podium, catches the moisture and draws to 3rd at the line.
They often talk about Brady Short type of tracks. This one's rolling into his liking right here, right now. He's in the 3rd spot. Taking a look at the 32 of Stockon. All the while, Darlin's kept about the same advantage. Couple car lengths. The battle at the line for second looks like it goes to Brady Short by inches.
Brady Short, strong around the bottom. Slides up in front of Stockon, right through the middle. That's vintage Brady Short. Tracking down the race leader, Dave Darlin. Misses the bottom a little bit, but it's a drag race to the line. With 19 to go. Short again, working slowly, chipping away on Dave Darlin. Now he clears him off of 2. Brady Short to the race lead as we come to 18 to go.
What a season it has been yet again for Brady Short.
An intense battle for the 4th spot ensued between Darlin, Jerry Coons Jr., Thomas Meserol, and recent Putnamville winner Robert Ballou. Ballou secured the position, diamonding off the cushion to power by Darlin with just a lap and a half to go. But up front, it was all Brady Short.
Nobody close enough to challenge. Stockon running second, Baseflug 3rd, Ballou 4th. Darlin going to lose the 5th spot to Thomas Meserol, but off of turn number 4, Brady Short picks up the win at the Sprint Week event at the Lincoln Park Speedway.
After a brief vacation break the week before that took him away from the first 3 rounds of Indiana Sprint Week, Brady Short made his return in the most triumphant fashion in Victory Lane to collect his 5th career Sprint Week win, a 5th different track in exactly 10 years to the day of his first USAC Sprint Car win at Bloomington in 2006.
It's huge, because it's there's 50 race cars here, there's 30 of them that can win this deal, and you got to have a lot of luck, and it's I don't know, it's just special. You get all these fans, that come to these racetracks and support this. We couldn't do it without all them guys, and hats off to Joe Spiker and them guys. I really didn't think we was going to be racing tonight with all the rain we had, and he gave us one hell of a racetrack.
Short was followed by Chase Stockon, Baseflug, Ballou, and an impressive LSR debut for Thomas Meserol, who came home 5th after starting 18th. Coons was 6th in front of Shane Cottle, Tyler Courtney, Kevin Thomas Jr., and Dave Darlin, who slipped back to 10th after leading 9 laps. Courtney, who restarted from the tail of the 24-car field with just 1 lap complete, fought back through the field to salvage an 8th-place finish and, in turn, maintained a solid 32-point lead in the Indiana Sprint Week standings over Ballou with just 3 events to go. Bacon is 3rd, with Chris Windham and Chase Stockon rounding out the top 5. The ravishing red clay of southern Indiana's Bloomington Speedway is the only soil to have greeted Indiana Sprint Week in all 29 years of the series' existence, dating back to the summer of 1988. A staple of the Hoosier State's rich racing tradition since 1923, Bloomington Speedway plays host to a new tradition in 2016. For the first time, the prestigious running of the Sheldon Kinzer Memorial, honoring one of Bloomington's favorite sons, is held under the sanctioning of the United States Auto Club, an organization in which he scored 3 national titles in the sprint car division in 1977, 1981, and 1982. Falling victim to the rain 1 year prior, the elements on this particular day set up a picture-perfect backdrop for the Green Hills packed to the gills with die-hard spectators and the 48 drivers on hand for what would become one of the greatest duels in Sprint Week history. But not all was perfect early on for Indiana Sprint Week points leader Tyler Courtney on the opening lap of Heat Race 4.
That is a side-by-side start, and here we go.
Barney got the Joe Sunshine upside down in 1 and 2. Big time. Your Sprint Week points leader
Oh boy.
bicycled on the cushion and went for a big ride.
Courtney would walk away uninjured, but with a torn-up race car, he would have to go to the backup, their wing car, for the semi-feature. Courtney was only able to muster a 15th place finish after starting at the tail of the semi, missing the transfer and valuable ground in the Sprint Week points race, opening the door wide open for Robert Blue and outside front row starter Brady Bacon as he lined up alongside Dave Darlin, who began his race from the pole position for the second consecutive night.
Set to go green off of turn number 4. Dave Darlin, Brady Bacon, bring us up to speed.
As the green flag flew, Darlin drew first blood, sliding up in front to the lead, but almost immediately, Darlin gained company as Brett Beauchamp utilized the bottom of the racetrack to pull even with Darlin entering turn 3, and a duel was on from there.
Darlin will lead by just a nose, but Beauchamp good around the bottom here in the early going. Catches the moisture off the 2 edges in front of Darlin down the end of the back straightaway. Still side by side for the lead through 3 and off of 4 at the line. That time, give it to Darlin still.
Brett Beauchamp looking strong in the early going, a former Lincoln Park Speedway champion. Darlin, he's been a champion everywhere. They are high-low confrontation.
Darlin just can't quite get away from him. The gap less than a 10. That last time by, Brady Bacon being swallowed up by Josh Hodges as Jerry Coons Jr. bobbles back in the pack and the rest of the field statters. Still side by side for the race lead up front.
Beauchamp and Darlin put on a show for the ages, running several identical-looking side-by-side laps, resulting in numerous photo finishes at the line, with each successive circuit appearing as if the two were on a high-speed pace lap. But on lap 8, Beauchamp got a titanic run on the bottom to give himself a little breathing room briefly.
Brett Beauchamp is your leader.
C.J. Leary on the move on the cushion in that 17 GP, racing for the 4th position with Josh Hodges.
After Chase Stockon brought out a caution at the halfway mark, the lap 15 restart saw Darlin find his second wind.
Continues to lead, but it's by a fraction. Actually, Darlin left that lap by 14 thousandths of a second, then got tight on the cushion. Beauchamp back in front.
That's a great call, Dillon, because it looks like he had it, but just got bound up at the exit of turn number 2. Here comes Diamond Dave on the outside. Can he go through it better this time? A little bit.
Beauchamp starting to get a little bit tight on entry, running the bottom there. He's got to go so slow, it's hard to get the car rotated. Darlin with the momentum on the outside leads that lap once again.
That's where he wants to catch it right there, and it looks like he does. So Darlin now out front. Can he maintain that advantage? And here comes Leary throwing caution to the wind.
Oh, and a problem off of 4. Tyler Thomas and Chris Wyndham. They sorted out. We're going to stay green. Tyler Thomas may have a flat left front in the 04 car. Battle for the lead. Beauchamp back to the front.
As the exit of turn 2 began to slip away for Darlin in the final 10 laps, Beauchamp began to pull away, eventually encountering lap traffic as he navigated the final circuit.
He's far enough ahead where he doesn't have to force the issue, but can't be too careful. Through 1 and off of 2. Gonna stay in line down the back straightaway. Darlin and Bacon not close enough to make a move. Through 3 and 4, a first-time winner, Brett Beauchamp wins at Bloomington.
Brett Beauchamp joined Tyler Courtney and Kyle Cummins as the 3rd different driver to claim his first career USAC victory during 2016 Indiana Sprint Week in a race that saw 7 lead changes between he and Dave Darlin during the first 19 laps. That's the most lead changes in a single USAC National Sprint Car feature since the Sprint Week round at Putnamville in 2001.
Dude, you drove 30 perfect laps. Get over here.
I can't put it into words. I said last night when they interviewed me, winning a Sprint Week race, I could not describe it. Especially here. This is a place that has eluded me. I wanted to win so bad here. And to make it a Sprint Week race, look at this. This is amazing.
How you ran the bottom and had Dave out there just pounding the cushion. How hard was it to just hit your marks lap after lap? Because running the bottom here is not easy.
Thank you. Well, to tell you the truth, it took me back to when I was running pavement Kenyon cars at Speedrome, because that's what it felt like. So I just made sure that I rolled the bottom smooth and hit my marks and made sure not to get off the tires. And Dave was right there. And I could sense that if I just hit my marks right, then I could just inch away from him. And I don't know how close it was to the finish. I felt like I had a comfortable lead. When I came up to lap traffic, I just didn't want to do anything dumb. So I just stuck it on the bottom and kind of, went out wide, coming to the checkered, maybe, to block any kind of run that was coming. And man, I'm just so excited.
Behind Beauchamp at the finish was Brady Bacon, who slipped by Dave Darlin for second on the final lap, Kevin Thomas Jr., a 2012 Bloomington ISW winner, was fourth, while Thomas Meserol drove the Landon Simon Racing machine to a second straight fifth-place finish. Rounding out the top 10 were C.J. Leary, Josh Hodges, Jerry Coons Jr., Jared Andretti, and hard charger Robert Ballou from 17th. Courtney's misfortune was all Bacon and Ballou's gain, but especially Bacon, as the Broken Arrow Oklahoma's driver's second-place finish helped him leapfrog past Courtney to take over the Sprint Week point lead by 22 markers over Ballou, heading into the final two races of the series. Courtney dropped all the way from third in front of Chris Windham and Kevin Thomas Jr. In a week chock full of drivers entering USAC victory lane for the first time, Brett Beauchamp became the latest driver to break through, marking the first time that 3 different drivers won their first career USAC sprint car race in a single Indiana Sprint Week. And we weren't even done yet. Head an hour and a half southwest on the stretch of highway on I-69, and you'll reach Hofstadt, Indiana's Tri-State Speedway. Indiana's deep south is home of the Class Track, a place where one cannot solely rest on his laurels, lest he be passed in the blinking of an eye by a brave soul who rides the rim on the boilerplate wall separating glory from heartache. Stand on the throttle, back it in, and stand on the gas again is the name of the game here, where 39 drivers sign in to treat the fans on both sides of the quarter-mile paperclip to show that they wouldn't soon forget USAC's 10,000th race. Two drivers looking for their first career USAC National Sprint Car wins occupied the front row. Pole sitter Carson Short, unrelated to Thursday night's Putnamville victor Brady Short, and Jared Andretti.
10,000 USAC sanctioned event underway here at the Tri-State Speedway. Carson Short jumps from the pole, leads down the backstretch over Jared Andretti and Kyle Cummins. They go nearly 3 wide with Stockon all the way on the bottom. Short leads the opening circuit. Still the same order in the top 3. Battle for the 5th position. Brady Bacon on the inside with Chad Facebook up top and Josh Hodges in the mix as well. Aaron Farney joins the battle.
As Carson Short began to distance himself from second-running Andretti, Tri-State Speedway favorite Cummins was able to sneak by Andretti for the second spot with a move on the inside of turn 2, and now he had the leader squarely within his sight.
Short got tight on entry to turn number 1. Cummins turned 1 and 2 into a diamond and closed that gap down the end of the back straightaway, and it shrinks further still as they race across the start-finish line. Just over a half-second advantage for Carson Short, who picks the front tires up. Cummins closing. Here comes Stockon to the inside. Boy, it was close there through 3 and 4. Chase forced the issue and made it work. He moves to third.
With less than 8 laps remaining, with lap cars running high, low, middle, and everywhere in between, Short had to be nearly perfect as he worked his way through the nooks and crannies in the back of the field while simultaneously being shadowed and hounded by Hofstadt master Cummins.
Jeff Land Jr., who darted to the inside lane. Short almost made contact with him. Cummins is right there. Had to lift off of turn number 2. Carson Short has escaped all challenges for the moment, but it may be only a matter of time. Couldn't get to the inside of Jeff Land there. Cummins within a half car length and Stockon the same distance back, running third. Here's Cummins to the bottom. Short over-rotated, started to the bottom, and Cummins wasn't able to capitalize. He may lose the second spot to Stockon here. Jeff Land Jr. now in between your top 2.
During the final laps, Short hit all of his marks and maneuvered around a handful of lap machines like a pro, positioning him within an arm's reach of his first career win of any kind.
Down the end of the back straightaway, into turn number 3, the 10,000th event sanctioned by the United States Auto Club goes to Carson Short.
The 20-year-old Marion, Illinois native Carson Short continued the role of first-time USAC winners, astoundingly becoming the 4th different driver to pick up his initial career series victory in the first 6 races of this year's Indiana Sprint Week. It's been a run of new winners that hasn't been seen in the series since 5 drivers, Hunter Schurenberg, Jacob Wilson, Brad Sweet, Brady Bacon, and David Carty found victory lane for the first time during a 7-race stretch late in the 2008 season.
It's just stoked, to get my first win, the USAC in 2016 Sprint Week. It's just awesome. And I was running the top most of the night, and about halfway through the race, Cummins showed me the bottom, and he was a lot faster than me on the bottom, so I moved down there and I was able to hold him off when we got to lap traffic, so I'm just happy I could get the win.
Short took the checkered flag ahead of Cummins, Spring Hopstot winner Chase Stockon, hard charger Robert Ballou from 16th, and Jared Andretti, who tied his career-best USAC finish with a 5th. Longtime racing veteran Critter Malone took home a superb 6th-place result in front of Brady Bacon, Chad Bassfluke, Kevin Thomas Jr., and Max McGee. Robert Ballou was able to knock 12 points off of Brady Bacon's advantage to close within 10 of the lead heading into Sunday's finale at Terre Haute. Tyler Courtney continued to slide further away from the lead after a rough 22nd place finish, but was still among those who remained mathematically eligible to win the Indiana Sprint Week title, along with Kevin Thomas Jr. and Chase Stockon. An hour and a half straight north on US 41 takes you straight to the entrance of the Wabash Valley Fairgrounds, home of the Terre Haute Action Track. The name says it all. The half-mile dirt oval, surrounded by a circle of red, white, and blue, paints a picture of yesteryear, when racers from coast to coast used the action track to prove themselves against the best of the best. The song remains the same today as it did 6 decades ago, and tonight, 32 drivers arrive with the same common goal. A win here can make you a legend. It can also humble you in a moment's notice. It's the granddaddy of all Hoosier-bred dirt tracks, and a fitting place to crown a brand new Indiana Sprint Week champion for 2016. 2012 Terre Haute winner Chase Stockon and Tyler Courtney sat on the front row as they led the 22-car starting field to the green flag for the 30-lap Don Smith Classic.
The Don Smith Classic, night number 7 of the 2016 running of Indiana Sprint Week is green.
At the start, pole sitter Chase Stockon shot out into the lead into turn 1. Sliding up to the high side as outside front row starter Tyler Courtney skated sideways in the middle of the corner, yet was able to maintain the position as the field shot down the back straightaway. Third starting Ballou presented a challenge to Courtney for second on the opening lap. Ballou had to finish 6 spots ahead of Bacon, whereas a top 5 result for Bacon would wrap up the Sprint Week title. With each position in the top 10 paying 3 points for every spot gained, points were of the utmost importance, and Ballou needed his share. With 8 to go, Ballou threw a colossal slider on Courtney for second that stuck, as fast qualifier Brian Clausen followed in hot pursuit in the black 63. With just 6 laps to go, Clausen's stay in the top 3 would be short-lived as his right rear tire blew out against the turn 4 wall, bringing out the night's final caution and setting up a final 6-lap dash for glory. After the restart, Stockon and Ballou broke away from Courtney, creating a 2-man, 2-car race for the win. With 3 to go, Ballou was closer to Stockon than he'd been all race long, prompting Ballou to toss a short slider at Stockon in turn 1 that came up short, but Ballou wasn't phased, staying right with Stockon, 2 to 3 lengths back in second.
Drag race down the back straightaway. Here comes Robert Ballou.
Though Stockon was just within Blue's grasp in the final laps, Blue was never quite close enough to mount a serious challenge to make the winning move.
On before the sprint week finale in the Don Smith Classic at Chase Stockon, Brady Bacon is going to be your 2016 Indiana Sprint Week champion.
Stockon became the 7th different driver to win a feature during the 7-race series, a feat that hasn't been accomplished since 2001. Yet it was 4th-place finisher Brady Bacon, who despite going winless throughout the 7 races, used a string of consistent finishes to accumulate enough points to claim his first Indiana Sprint Week crown while picking up his first Sprint Week title for his car owners, Hoffman Auto Racing, since the 1998 season with driver Dave Darlin. Bacon's title staked the claim for the traditional handcrafted Bridgeport rocker that is awarded annually to the Indiana Sprint Week champions by longtime supporters John and Terry Youngs of Vincennes, Indiana, as well as the $5,000 top prize.
Here with Brady Bacon, 2016 Indiana Sprint Week champion. You and I talked before the race just about the prestige and what it would mean to get a Sprint Week championship. So now that it's all said and done, what are the emotions? How does it feel to get that first Sprint Week title?
Oh, it feels good. Relief. You know, first thing that comes to mind, you don't really notice how much this week wears you out until it's over and you don't have to worry about it anymore. So it's nice to get it over with, have a good, strong week, got a nice point lead in the national points. So, this is kind of a big step towards winning the national championship is having a successful Indiana Sprint Week. So, hopefully we can keep the momentum rolling for the rest of the year and just got to kind of take it and, build upon it all year. So we had a good car for a lot of the week and battled through some stuff and, didn't draw good there at the beginning of the week. Unfortunately, tonight we drew good, which helped a bunch. So it, just feels good to get another, crown jewel win for the Hoffmans. And, they work really hard and make sure, I have what it takes to win. So it feels good to give back to them.
Yeah, you've gotten a lot of marquee events and things driving for the Hoffmans, and it's their first Sprint Week championship since '98. How special is that for you to get that honor for them again?
Oh yeah, anytime you can be the one that adds, tallies to the list, their list, which is long. It feels good, and then when you win a lot of races for them, and there's been a lot of guys that have driven for them, it really makes you feel good. So. There's a reason they're winners and why they will continue to be. They focus on the right things and, like I said, keep putting a car out there that can win races.
Brady Bacon, your 2016 Indiana Sprint Week champion.
The top 4 in Indiana Sprint Week points took the top 4 spots in the feature as Stockon triumphed over Blue, Tyler Courtney, Brady Bacon, and Aaron Farney, who scored a season best 5th. Chris Windham, Logan Jarrett, hard charger Jerry Coons Jr. from 18th, Brian Clausen and C.J. Leary rounded out the top 10 positions. Brady Bacon finished just 9 points ahead of Ballou to bring home his first career Indiana Sprint Week title, ahead of Ballou, with Courtney, Stockon, and Windham rounding out the top 5 in the standings. It's been a banner year for Brady Bacon thus far as he now owns a whopping 170-point lead in the race for the USAC AMSOIL National Sprint Car Championship, while defending series champ Robert Ballou has advanced his way up to the 2nd spot. Stockon, Meserol, and Darlin hold down spots 3 through 5. Rounding out the top 10 are Base Flug, Leary, Windham, Max McGee, and Aaron Farney. Years from now, when one thumbs through the history books to look back on Indiana Sprint Week of 2016, it will be remembered as one of the most competitive weeks of racing in the United States Auto Club has ever offered. As we move from dot to dot on our maps, racking up mile after mile on the crossroads of America while traveling from one racetrack to the next, we were able to witness stories unparalleled in the 29-year history of Indiana Sprint Week. A spirited charge from the tail to victory lane. A longtime veteran who finally breaks through. A living legend who continues to rewrite the history books. A local Hoosier star who continues to prove himself over again and again. A duel for the ages involving the most lead changes seen in 15 years. A stunner by a young driver who makes his initial mark on the sprint car scene. And a new champ arises with the most legendary of all USAC sprint car teams. 7 nights, 7 different winners. Packed houses, night after night. The best from coast to coast, sacrificing their time, their wallets, their sleep, and their well-being to participate in the sport they love. Their purpose was clear when they signed in at the gate on opening night of Indiana Sprint Week. It was time to strap in and put on a show. That appetite, that hunger, it's what keeps competitors and the working man alike coming back in droves to the Hoosier State each summer, year after year, for one sole purpose: Indiana Sprint Week. This is Michael McIntyre, and on behalf of the United States Auto Club and Loud Pedal Productions, Racer Max says thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time at the races.